Well, hey guys, good morning. Good to see you all. Yeah, today's going to be very interesting topic. It's one that I've been working on all week. New discovery that I made during my 101,000 step challenge. By the way, if anyone tried to go to Facebook and join the 101,000 step challenge, it says this page is not available. Mr. Facebook or Mrs. Facebook or whoever's out there, they tagged my site and said it's being reviewed. I don't know if someone may have tried it and they got tired and they complained. I don't know what happened. Anyway, we did a lot of work on that site. We were so excited to get it launched. And last night someone says, "Hey, Fred, I want to join that group. It's the page is not popping up." I said, "Sure it is. You have the wrong link." And sure enough, I didn't get this nasty gram from Facebook. "Sorry, your site has been shut down. It's under review." So anyway, good old Facebook. Anyway, well, listen, welcome. And we're going to be talking about some interesting things today. And today I want to make it more of a work session, though. So if you're driving or you're in a gym or you're not able to write things down, still try to do it in your head with us, because I really want to try and make it more of a workshop to get more engagement, and so it's more impactful for us personally, because we're all different, right? When a lot of times when we go to sessions or seminars or workshops, we listen, and we think, oh yeah, they can do it, but I can't do it. Well, you're not supposed to do it the way they're doing it. You're not, you are you. And when we start talking about these things, is the whole purpose is to find out, who are you? Who are you? And if some of you say, "I know who I am, Fred, I don't need that," then jump off now, because if you know who you are, I want you to talk to me. I need you as my coach. I spent a lot of money on coaches. I need a new coach, whoever it is. I'm talking to a guy right now, 82 years old. It's called the Cabin Experience. The money that he gets for a 3-day session, and I just signed up for it, the Cabin Experience, and we were sitting there chatting and talking, and all his experience. Has been doing this all his life. I mean, some of the people, he, direct friends with Tony Robbins and blah, 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 and he's 82 years old, right? You wouldn't know it talking to him on the Zoom. And when I was talking to me about the course and what it would take and all this kind of stuff, I was chuckling with him. I says, you're a master, right? You're a master. So am I. I'm a master. And my definition of a master is someone who realized they have not mastered anything and that they are just getting going. And that's my attitude. It really is. So if I ever say anything, you think, well, and my license tag says answers. And I use answers at defalco.com. I have a phone number, 402 answers. And I love it, because people say, "Hey, what's the answers?" I'm gonna say the answers is you always ask questions. You never stop asking questions. Question everything. And therefore the quote Socrates, that's why he got put to death, is because he told the young people of his time, question everything. Don't take what they're telling you. Don't take that philosophy. Don't take that religious idea. Don't take that spiritual idea. Don't take it. Always question it. So that's the answer. So anyway, I'm talking to this guy. He gets $2,000 a month per person, and it's a 30-minute Zoom call once a month. Okay. How would you like to get $2,000 for a 30-minute Zoom call? Because he's a master. And he's 82 years old. And then to attend his 3-day workshop, it's $5,000. Because he's a master. He's a master, knowing he has never stopped doing what we're doing today. And that is examining our lives, examining our business, examining our approaches to things, examining our relationships, examining our thought system, examining our BS, our belief system. So, and it's amazing as you do this, how many opportunities are delivered to you to get better. Right. I just met this guy this week as a result of the 101,000 step challenge. So I said, "Fred, you ought to talk to this guy. You don't know who this is?" And I said, "No." And then I came across the book on my 101,000 step challenge, because I listened to a lot of books. And the nice thing about walking, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Did that on a couple of meetings. Is scientifically, as you're walking, you're stepping, it's like, psychologically, you're moving forward. That's the power of walking. It's psychologically, just intuitively, psychologically, you're moving forward and you're moving away from something. So just the power of walking alone is just incredible. So when you are walking away from something and walking towards something, and you have some input, like I'm going to share with you today, a book I discovered. And the nice thing I like about Audible is that I listen to books. And sometimes I squeeze the speed up to like 1.4, but it's a little bit too much. So I back it down to like 1.3. That means I can listen and go through books at 30% faster than if I was reading them. But this idea of walking and always moving forward, how many of you just, when you're moving forward and you have some success, no matter what area it is, you feel it, right? It energizes you, it feeds you. And so anyway, with this idea that I'm a master, that means I haven't mastered anything, and I'm still working on it every day. And I want you all to be masters at doing the same thing. So let me share my screen. And then I'm going to stop sharing because I want to get to some work, some work for us to do. Just a real review. We're still on the 7 C's. This is part 3. This whole idea, we all have this goal and that we're going to sail the 7 C's one day. And, everything's going to be wonderful. And, life is just going to be peachy. And that never happens. The 7 C's never happen. So we got to live with these 7 C's that we talked about. A lot of times we wait for our ship to come in and we've never set it out the port. We never pushed it out there. So we can't wait for our ship to come in. We talked about the keel, how it keeps it balanced, right? And then the 1 C, the complacency, is like cancer. It's worse than cancer. It causes cancer. And no matter any time, somewhere in your life, if you're angry, you've been complacent somewhere. If you're depressed, that's because you've been complacent somewhere with looking inside. If you're upset, if you're fearful, if you're worried about money, if you can't get along with your spouse, if you can't get along with your kids, you're complacent somewhere. There's some complacency somewhere in your life, and you've got to figure that out. It's a cancer, complacency. We talked about that C. Then we talked about the real 7 C's, the clock, the contacts, commitments, concerns, that you can control. And that's what you need to focus on, is to build a life that you're going to love and enjoy and just be so excited. Someone asked me the other day when, we're talking about some business acquisitions and stuff. And he says, Fred, what keeps you pumped? I said, I'm not pumped. It's just who I am. And I said, because of the 7 C's. And he said, what's the 7 C's? I said, well, let me share it with you. Let me tell you. So anyway, these are the 7 C's that really work. Okay. And then part 2, we talked about, you need to take everything into consideration, everything you're doing all the time, or you're going to end up condemning it, or you're going to end up in condemnation yourself. Consideration is a powerful word. And it's like self-analysis. It's the same thing as examining life. Take everything into consideration. And we talked about the 5, the 5 W's and the 1 H that they use in investigations. And that's the way we always have to ask ourselves. I help people write their story. I help people, their bio and stuff. And Tanya, I see you're on here. We had a real good fun time. And it came out as a masterpiece, right, Tanya? A lot of work, but I kept saying, the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, don't leave me hanging. Come on. And so these are powerful words. And then this is what we talked about. You've got to consider all these things. You've got to consider everything from God, yourself, your creation, your life views, your worldview. You always got to consider this stuff all the time. And there's really only one thing, and that is love. So let's get into the other C today. And that other C is could. Okay. That C there is like complacency. A lot of times it becomes a cancer. I could have. And then when we live our lives, could have, should have, would have, if only I had of. Could have, should have, would have, if only I had of. Why, as a species, do we do that? We just do it. It haunts us. The could haves in our lives, the should haves, the would haves. So what I want you to do, and this is where I'm going to stop sharing my screen a minute. I want to go to work here together. On that left-hand column today, with your current happiness level, your current level of success, your current position financially, your current position in your relationships. what I want to do, I want to just, let me stop sharing my screen. And then we're going to work on this. Hit stop share. Where it happened to my controls.
The screen was not shared.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, oh, it wasn't? Ah, you're kidding me. You guys had to listen to all that without seeing that? Oh, why didn't someone speak up? Because especially those that are here, you're brand new. And if you weren't here for open to 9 a.m. If you weren't here for part 1 and part 2, none of that made any sense. Anyway, that's okay. We got it. But here's where we are today. This is the C that we're on. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I want to go to work on these. So, this is the other C that's like a cancer, is the could haves, the could have. I could have done this. I could have done that. And then when you add this to could have, should have, would have, I could have, I should have, I would have, if only I had it. Right. And it just haunts us. And then I'm going to get into a scientific reason why, called positive intelligence, to help you conquer this. So let me stop sharing my screen now. And we're going to go to work on this. Okay. So right now, I want you to take your total today, your current happiness level, your current success level, your relationships, everything, where you are. And I'm going to hit stop share. We're going to start putting some list in the text. And I want you to, if you can, if you're somewhere where you can write down, I want you to start doing some could haves. So let me open the chat. So taking your current level, what are some of the could haves that haunt you? I could have done this. In your current level, wow, I could have done this. And if you need to add should have, could have, would have, if only I had have. What are some of those that haunt you? That keeps coming back. I should have, or I could have. What are some of the things that haunt you?
I guess it's just about everything. Everything we talk about is basically we say, oh, I should have done that. I should. Right?
Yeah.
Most of
let's focus on the could,
like,
though.
for example,
I could have. Yeah, let's focus on the could today, and just add that other should in the back, just to get you thinking. But what are some of the things coming? I could have. What? Come on. I don't want to give it to you. I want to pull it out of you. I could have.
I could have called everybody that I haven't in a while.
Okay. So, perfect. And then Anastasia just said, put it in the chat for me. Thank you, Anastasia. Said, I could have been consistent with my goals. Okay. Very good. Thank you for starting it out. Okay. Goals. What other could you have done? When you look back at a relationship that failed, when you look about making money, when you look at your checkbook, what could you have done to prevent that where you are today? What could you have done to prevent where you are today? Unless you're totally financially free and your relationships are blooming and you don't have any, stress and you don't have any concerns and life is just, wonderful and golden, then again, I don't know why you're on the call. Could have called my SOI yesterday. Okay, keep going. Goals, could have called SOI yesterday. Where you are today, is that where you wanted to be 3 years ago? If you would have wrote out, I could have taken control of my finances instead of leaving it for my partner to do. Very good, Krista, that's great. Because apparently a partner screwed them up. I don't want to read into that. Is that correct, Krista? I could have taken control of my finances instead of leaving it. Yes, okay, I read right into that, thought so. I could have been more prepared, could have gone to the gym more times last week. And again, think 3 years, okay? 3 years ago, would you have planned your life for today? Is your life an exact what you wanted to have 3 years ago? Let's see if that'll trigger something. What could you have done to have a different life today 3 years ago? Could have gone to the gym more last week. Okay, somebody else, come on. Come on, you were rolling there. I could have spoken to more people. I could have taken control of fun. Okay. I could believe in myself more. I could have buy life insurance earlier. Amen, Anastasia. But life insurance is a great investment. By the way, if anyone needs any help with that, let me know. I've got great people to help you with that. I could have hired a life coach to help me get my life together. I could have. Okay. Very good. Now, let me ask you a question, Steph. If you would have had a coach 3 years ago today, 3 years ago, today, what would your life may have looked like? Right?
I would have been more organized. I would have had more clarity on what I wanted to do, and I would have gone into real estate.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Nicholas said could have started earlier. Okay. Morning routine earlier. Boy, Anastasia, thank you. You're on fire this morning. Thanks for showing up. Okay, well, come on. Let me help you out. What regrets do you have in your life, right? Because your regrets are usually tied to couldas, right? Regrets are tied to couldas. What regrets do you have in your life? And what could you have done to prevent them? Could have joined EXP earlier. Okay, missed these talks. Okay. What else? Think about some of your regrets. What could you have done differently starting 3 years ago that would have put you in a different position than you are today? Keep going. Come on. I want some more out of you. Come on. There's a lot more juice out there. It's like Krista, you know, I could have taken control of my finances to let my partner, and it created some financial disaster. Could have ended a relationship earlier. Okay, Steph, thank you for that vulnerability. Do you have a sense of freedom now that you ended it? Is things different? Steph?
Yes, absolutely. And I could have ended it like 2 years earlier than I should have.
Okay, and where would you have been today had you could have ended it 2 years earlier? What would your life been like today had you done that?
I would have been in a different business trajectory because I was helping him with his business and not mine.
Okay, so your business would have been 2 more years advanced, is what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, Nicholas, what's that mean? Up arrows there. Help me out there. Nicholas. And by the way, everyone welcome Nicholas. Just joined us, brand new to the business, but not really new. He has some experience, but the brokerage didn't get support. But Nicholas is a great young guy. You're going to be hearing a lot from him. He's oh my gosh, you should see his library for his age. Nicholas, how old are you? Speak up.
25. I'm 25.
25. You should see his library, folks. He puts me to shame. It's incredible what this guy's doing. He's into crypto. He's into stock. I can't wait to get him with the 101,000 step challenge. Could have started a relationship earlier. There you go. Nicholas could have started a relationship earlier. Okay. In other words, you postpone making a commitment to someone. Is that what you mean?
No, I pretty much, I have like all these chances with women and then I don't take them and then I end up not having anything at all. So that's that.
In other words, you gave up a 7 and 8 thinking there's a 10 out there, and now you wish you would have had the 7 or the 8.
No, I gave up 10 thinking there were 10 more, someone better, but they're all pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, cool. So then, okay, Anastasia, definitely self-sabotage, self-doubt. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to give you the answer to that. Definitely self-sabotage, self-doubt, setback. Many times I could have stayed connected to coaching on a regular basis to avoid setbacks and negative emotions. Absolutely. It's like washing your car, right? If you don't wash your mind and you don't examine your life on a moment by moment, folks, I'm not kidding you, man. It's not a every month basis. It's a hourly basis. And it's fun when you do it. You start laughing at yourself. I mean, really, if someone put hidden cameras in my place, they would probably commit me. When I start examining some things and I start to beat myself up, but then, you know, I don't want to give away what I'm going to talk about positive intelligence in a moment, but you're right, Anastasia, is that a regular basis is to keep, moving forward. Again, that's what, when you walk, why walking is so powerful, because you're moving forward and you're leaving something behind. Liz, I could have taken the leap of faith and left my team earlier to start my own business and be more advanced. Very good. Very good. We have some people I have people in my group, they made the plunge and they're $125,000 over that they were 1 year. Matter of fact, Krista, I don't think you mind me sharing that. You're $125,000 better off and don't even have a full year. It's only been April will be a full year, correct? I think it was $125,000 difference. So don't postpone things if you see it. Is that right? Krista, 125,000? Yep, she's having some phone problem. You there? Should have listened.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, you're right. You're correct, Fred.
Yeah. So in a lot of times,
way ahead.
Yeah, Tom Martin is Tom's not on the call, but he would tell you. I did an interview with Tom and looked at his numbers, and oh my gosh, I mean, he just kept putting off and just okay, I could have. Okay, and then let's just finish up with a couple more, which I would have known. I know. Okay, Pal, what is that? Which is it Pal? How do you pronounce your name? I'm sorry. Speak up for me.
Good morning. I just wish I would have known more about real estate and be more involved with positive-minded people
Okay,
than
cool.
what I know now.
Cool. Okay. And you're going to really like what I show you here on positive intelligence and how powerful it really is. It's very, very critical. And then, all right, so come on, one or two more. And then I'm going to get back to sharing some things with you. One more then. Come on, one more. I'm going to pick on Jennifer. I like picking on Jennifer Bortello. Watch this. Jennifer, come on. We can get it out there.
Hi, good morning. You know, I could have been more diligent with my database. That's a big one. Just getting having KV Core, something like KV Core, and just being consistent with follow-up. If I could have done that, my business would be definitely much bigger than it is.
Thank you. That's a good one. Listen to this. I was gone from the brokerage business a long time with my real estate development company and investing company. And I got started with EXP 3 years ago. And then when I started back and I was here about a year and I started making calls to some older contacts. You ready for this? $100 million in about 15 of my contacts of real estate that they had done in the previous year. So it's crazy, folks. Just think about 3 years ago, if you could have done that, right? And where you would be today. So let's go on. Let me share my screen again. I'm going to show you something. This is really powerful stuff. But I mean, I am like pumped. Not only pumped, but I'm I don't like that word pump because that's like motivation and it's not good enough. And inspiration is not good enough. Aspiration, it's causing me to aspire even higher with these things that I'm discovering. Because when you take this and what we just did, now let's do 3 years from today to really close your eyes. And this is, we can't do all what you really need to do here. But think about 3 years from today, where will you be if you start living all your could haves that you passed up in the past 3? And I want to show you this. This is, I love my Google. Here's just some of the regrets: not making amends, sweating the small stuff. Am I sharing my screen? Yes. Unaccomplished goals, words left unsaid, working too much, worrying too much about what others think, not following their passion, taking life too seriously. And a lot of times it's when you see working too much, it's not, I could, someone who would look at my life should say, Fred, that's definitely going to be one of yours. No, it's not one of mine. Not working smarter, not digging deeper. And I dug deep all my life, but I didn't dig deep enough and find that inner child until about 7 years ago. And what got me to where I was to build a $35 million real estate portfolio is what destroyed it. And that was, I was totally pumped. I was totally positive. I was totally exposed all my life to motivation, inspiration. I was on fire, but deep down inside, didn't know there was a little boy crying out. I only did all that to prove to the world that I was good enough. And that good enough is what got me to where I got to, but it's also is what took me down, is because I wasn't good enough. And there's a whole story behind that. But I don't live with any regrets because life is happening to me. I mean, not happening to me, it's happening for me, that I've learned in the last 6 or 7 years, including the loss of a $35 million company, death of a daughter, 40-year marriage. I can go on and on and on, but life is happening for us, not to us. So when this could have is so important, because there's not anybody on this call, and please, if I'm wrong, tell me, and I would love to. there's no one on this call that doesn't have some regrets when you think about this could have. If I could have done this, I could have done that. If only I had a. So let's really focus on this on this 3 years here when you hang up, and then when you go do your homework, is that you don't have these regrets. But I'm going to tell you what keeps doing it to you, and it's called positive intelligence in a moment. And this, let me show you. We make fun of this sometimes, the could-haves, should-haves, and we actually go make t-shirts over it, right? And, should have, would have, could have. And let me show you this one philosophy. No one ever gets to see what could have been. But this one philosophy, I read this. I said, yeah, you got to be kidding me. Now you may believe it, and it's fine. It's the one that says, I felt like an outsider. It's the one that says, if it should have, could have, would have, didn't. There's another one that says, if it could have and it should have and it didn't, it wasn't meant to be would have or something. It was. I said, are you kidding me? Most of our could have been. There's a story of a man, lying in his deathbed, and he's starting to have some visions of people. All of a sudden, he sees these, 15 people standing around. They had all these wonderful things in their hands and stuff, and they're going, "Who are you guys?" He says, "Oh, well, we're your could-haves." What do you mean could-haves? Well, who are you? He said, "Remember back, 27 years ago when you, drove by that piece of land, you could have bought it. This is what it would have been today." And then it went on, and the story goes on and on. It's about relationships and all this other stuff, but. We don't want to live like this. So let's figure out why we do that, okay? And what the new thing is and how we can overcome that enemy ourselves, and it's through positive intelligence. I just discovered this week on my walks. And that's why I love YouTube Premium. You've got to have a YouTube Premium because it recommends things that you've been listening to. And this positive intelligence, you're all familiar with IQ, correct? How many of you know what IQ is? Now, I don't have a very high IQ asking you that, correct? I mean, we all know what IQ is. How many of you have an IQ? Don't be bashful. Just put in the text, I have an high IQ. Who has a high IQ? Anyone? Oh, look, they're not going to do it. IQ, I would assume, Nicholas, I think you do. But IQ, we know there's many, many people that are on the streets that have very high IQs. That's proven. The homeless have very high IQs. There's a lot of people have a lot of, not all of them, there's a lot of people have high IQ. So IQ doesn't necessarily, then many years ago that I got involved in was EQ. What is EQ? Anybody? What is the EQ?
Emotional intelligence.
Thank you. So you can have the IQ, but if you don't have the EQ, your life is not, you've got all these problems. You've got all these problems, right? Well, I was pretty darn good. I rank okay. I mean, I'm not up there, with Einstein, I'm sure, but I rank okay on my IQ. My EQ is very, very healthy. I've studied it for many, 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 many years. The EQ was wonderful, as I said, and I had so many things together on that EQ. But again, as I said, not going deep enough, not understanding and not examining and really living that philosophy every day, I didn't realize that those two weren't enough. And so now life has been so wonderful. And like last week's presentation, talking about divine intelligence and divine integrity, divine integrity has served me so well in this past week by introducing me to PQ. What is PQ? What do you think PQ is? PQ is positive intelligence. And when you dive into this, I just took my self-test. I don't even want to show it to you. Okay, no, maybe I will. I just took my self-test, and no, I won't, because I'm going to save that for next week, because I want everybody to go on here and take your free PQ and self-test, okay? And you have two things going on in your life. Well, there's more than two, and I don't want to give a lot of it away, but the two that I want to talk about this morning, you have a saboteur, in your head, and you have a sage in your head. And that sage is what saves us, right? And comes to the rescue. But that poor sage, the saboteur for the majority of people, and I forget what the number is, like 87%, is that the saboteur in our lives is much stronger than the sage in our life. And this guy, I'm like an hour away from finishing the book. He gives all the way to make your sage powerful, more powerful. You got to download this book on Audible, or you got to buy it. If you are serious about life, and from 3 years from today, if you want your life, if you're ever on another call like this 3 years from today and say, hey, oh my gosh, my life is phenomenal. My life, I got this going, I got that going, I got this, I got that, I got this. Because he'll take you through these exercises of how to get your sage so powerful. He works with the wealthiest of the wealthiest. He works with billionaires. He works with, the best of the best. He's incredible, this guy, and his own personal story. And you talk about a guy with a high IQ. Wait till you listen to his personal story. So we got to have this PQ going on in our lives. Am I sharing my screen? You all see my screen? So this is the website, positiveintelligence.com. I want you all, after the meeting, I didn't share my screen. Okay, positiveintelligence.com. I want you to go there today, tomorrow, next day, this weekend, make it a project. Go there, take the self-test, and find out, about the sage and the saboteurs, and start diving into this guy's site. He has a lot of free stuff on there, but please, please, please invest in the audio, invest in the book, the book itself, because it will guarantee you that 3 years from today, that you will never have any regret. You won't. I am so into this thing. And when I took my self-test, I went, oh my gosh. I thought that was conquered. I thought, wow, I didn't know I'm letting this sabotage my life still. And it's incredible. It's incredible. So I want to challenge you to have a high PQ. Your IQ is you can, whatever it is, great. Your EQ is very important. Your emotional intelligence. If you're not real get into that, there's some self-test on that online. But this is the one, the PQ is what I want you to really dive into and exhaust. So with that, I want to leave it there, because I really would like to have more group interaction about this, and about how you could see this working in your life, and talk about 3 years from the day what you want. Put it out there. Put it out to the universe. Put it out to us. 3 years from today, if this stuff could work for you, versus where you're sitting today and looking back 3 years, and then today sitting here and looking forward to 3 years, saying, how did that last 3 years serve me? Because I know how my last 3 years served me, and there's a lot of disaster in there, but it served me. And then if I can have this PQ, this positive intelligence, how can I use what happened in the last 3 years where I sit today, and then make my sage so strong in my life that my saboteur doesn't take over? So I'm sitting another 3 years from now saying, oh my, didn't quite get there. I didn't quite hit those goals. Someone said, what book? It's Positive Intelligence. Go to positiveintelligence.com, or go to Amazon, Positive Intelligence, or if you're on Audible and you want the Audible, Positive Intelligence, or positiveintelligence.com. So I'm opening it up, and Either we'll have a real quick, you know, after party, or let's get some of you involved. What do you think you can do with this? Anybody? And this is not a motivational, it's not an aspirational, it's positive intelligence, it's science. He backs it up. It's the stories he tells one after the other about his family and the relationships, the companies that he goes in and turns around, people who are going broke, how he turns their life around, marriages, how he turns around with positive intelligence. So your PQ will be high. Anybody? Come on. Oh, Claire's not here today. She would rescue me. Or rescue you, I should say. I don't need to be rescued.
I'm here.
Oh, there she is. Anyway, but this PQ is really powerful. Claire, you've been into a lot of this over the lifetime. You know, you've been into, you know, helping addicts. You've been just like me, a lot of background and experience. But does that make any sense? Positive, the PQ, the positive intelligence?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And so this is what's interesting, which I'm sure you've already stated. So when we're looking at situations that way, don't diminish what your head's trying to tell you, like you tell us all the time. You've got to look within, okay? Because your intelligence actually comes from your heart when it's coming to that type of intelligence. Your head's out to kill you and your heart's out to save you.
And Claire, what's really interesting about this guy, and I say the same thing you just said, but what's really interesting about this guy, he goes into all the voices in your head, what they are, he identifies them. He actually gives them names that makes it more powerful for you to remember, and that when they hit, then you do something you rack up points, okay, every day, you rack up points. So you defeat these voices in your head, because if we have these different voices, and he goes into it, it's really, really intriguing. Is there a recording of the first two parts? I just joined EXP this week and would love to see the first two parts. Very good, Steph. Yeah, if you have access to Workplace, Tiffany can give you direction if you're not in there yet, but when you get into Workplace, the GPS group, we have a list of all these recordings, and you can go see part 1 and part 2. And by the way, the handout, oops, Tiffany, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do the PDF of the handout. It'll be in Workplace. And if there's somebody on that's our guest and you don't have access to Workplace, if you want me to share the slide deck with you for the last 3 weeks, matter of fact, my last year and a half of all my sessions are in there. It's a PDF of all of them with all the links to all the things that I do. So just send me an email, answers@defalco.com, and put in the title. Just put in there so I don't, make sure they're all consistent. If you're a guest and you want the PDF, put in there, let's see, just put in there Wednesday. Just put in there Wednesday. So when I hit sort, because you know my emails get behind, I hit sort and I know who to send it to. But yeah, if you're with our brokerage, you can go to Workplace and get access to all the recordings. Okay, somebody else. Yeah, but anyway, going back to that, Claire, is that, you know, I was doing real, you know, I'm always doing real well with, you know, sorting out the head and the heart thing. But then as he started identifying them, and then you start giving them names, I haven't named mine yet. He has names for them. He teaches his kids to name them. His kids pop out some of the darndest things. You got to read his story, and how they defeat them. And when you see companies turned around as a result of what he does, it's incredible. All right, anybody else? Your PQ.
I have a comment.
Yeah, Mary Al.
Yes, well, about positive intelligence, you just mentioned that Claire also helped addicts. Well, I have an incredible story about that. One of my sons had an addiction problem. It was very severe. And I kept on fighting against everybody and everything. Everybody told me, oh, forget it. I put him in a real estate class. And some guy who I didn't even know said to me, oh, he's never gonna get it. And then, you know, and things kept going on. And I kept on going with my positivity And now he is a super successful dog trainer. He's been sober for 6 years. He just went on to his life. And he tells me, Mommy, if it weren't for you and the love of my family and your insistence, I would just have gone to hell. I had two choices, either stay in hell or grab that cord that was your love, and you're continuing to keep on going. And he did that. Yeah. And he has a picture that I saved that he said, you know, he's surfing in a beautiful beach. And he said, I have been to hell, and thanks to the love of my family and the insistence of my mother, I am in heaven again. And here's where I will always be. And it's the positive intelligence.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. And you know what? And I'm sure the voices in your head, you know, you had your sage saying, I'm going to, you know, you can do this, you can do this. And I'm sure you had that other one, you know, the sabotager that's in your head saying, you know, I don't know. But you just kept feeding your sage, right? And that's what happens. Yeah. And it, you know, folks, we are so much more incredible than we realize. There's, you know, we really are, the power that we put out as individuals, and it's not a pump up, it's not a motivation, it's not a rah-rah, it's none of that stuff. It's deep. So what Marielle, what you put out there, that belief that you had, and, you know, I mean, all the religious leaders say it, you know, and, you know, faith can move mountains, right? And you moved a mountain. It's bigger than a mountain. It was a life, right? So you moved it. And then there's other stories that it may have went the opposite way, but then, you know, I had two brothers, and I had that same belief in them both. Unfortunately, one at 48 couldn't handle it anymore. But I didn't have the information I had today. I had the information today because I finally went deep and understood the inner child issue, that everything everybody was doing for them, everything I was doing for them wasn't going deep enough. Because we're not taught to examine anything. You know, you're taught to join clubs. You're taught to, you joined the Catholic club, you joined the Christian club, you joined the Jewish club, you joined the Muslim club, you joined that club, we believe that life is exclusive, and it's not. It's inclusive. We're taught to join the club of whatever, you know. And folks, we either, in life, there's not too many choices. Either you become a person of substance, or you'll become a person that uses substances to get by. And that substance could be anything: overeating, drinking, drugs, whatever it could be, depression. It could be just giving up, right? So this positive intelligence, and this guy really just, I mean, I'm just like blown away. I've been exposed to all of them. I actually served on, you know, the boards of Dr. Dennis Wakely, and I can't believe how powerful this has been to me in the past week, and what it has done to get me to understand a little bit more of what some of the things that are going on. So yeah, dive in, positiveintelligence.com, take the self-test. Don't let it just be a passing fancy. That's what we do. That's called complacency. Don't let the cancer sit in a complacency. Dive in, positive intelligence. Make sure, and if that, and in your EQ too, if you haven't ever read some things on emotional intelligence, and where are you going to go to get all this, folks? Where are you going to go to get all this? YouTube, YouTube Premium. Look, just type in emotional intelligence, see what pops up on YouTube. But this guy here, positiveintelligence.com, I promise you, you will, 3 years from today, if you make this guy your coach and you do the self-test and you buy this book and you go through this book 3 years from the day, watch out, because he has knocked it out of the park. And I'm so excited about it. Okay, so anybody else? Thank you, Marielle, for sharing that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Anybody else? No? Come on, let's go. One more. I always say that, one more. I'm an auctioneer, remember? Can't stop yet. One more. You're a tough group. One more, come on. One more. I don't want to do it. Let me see. Olivia. Yes, I knew she was going to say something. Hi, Olivia.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, man, look at that smile. Look, folks. Now, does she look at it? Look at that smile. You know, one thing I told Olivia one day, Olivia's in our area, and we do have an office, and she passes by every now and then, and I told her, I said, I've never seen. Did you turn that camera off again?
Oh, I'm coming. Sorry.
That smile, literally. By the way, she's not just smiling because she turned the camera on. She's that way all the time. You talk about positive intelligence, but Olivia, you're such a positive person already. But some of what we talked about today, you think it can help in some other areas?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's definitely emotional intelligence is really important. I'm going to take your test, so the next time you speak, that I'll be able to see what all our results are from our quiz. Thank you so much. And also, I appreciate you talking about everything, life happens, everything that happens in your life, all the challenges you faced, and also thinking maybe that you weren't good enough, because I feel like a lot of us probably think that every day in this business, and it's challenging all the time, and you get in your head and your mindset. So it's just staying positive is incredibly important, and having that group of positive minded people around you to continue to move forward and persevere and stay determined.
Fantastic. How many of you are glad I called Olivia? How many, right? Yeah, put it in the chat box. Thank you, Olivia.
You surprised me. Thank you for
Thank you. And I'm going to say this, and I'm not blowing smoke when I say this, Olivia. I mean this, and I'm not flattering. I'm not blowing smoke. Without a question, and we all are this way. We're a role model. Either we're a good role model or a bad role model. Just your smile alone, when she talks, she smiles. And I mean, I've never seen this girl not smile. And I don't know whether it was parents that instilled it on her. You always have to have a smile, whether it's just, but I'm because I'm a big thinker, and sometimes big thinkers are, I've actually had people say to me, you okay? Everything all right? I'm a big thinker, right? And so a lot of times you get into your head so much, but you really have been a role model to me. And I'm not blowing smoke. I actually think of you a lot when it comes to when I smile more. So we are all a role model to one another. And Olivia, thank you for turning your camera on. Thank you for blessing us with that smile.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, come on. See, come on, one more. Let's see. No, come on. Someone volunteers. I don't have to call you. Come on, Eddie. I got to do this. Eddie, where are you? Eddie. I met Eddie. Eddie's up in Virginia. So I met Eddie at she may be busy. It looks like that. That looks like the Shiba dog. My cryptocurrency. Eddie, you there? No, she's not there. But you're talking about a attitude and a smile. I wish she was there. She must have tuned out and busy with something else, because she sure could add some stuff. Anybody else? Eddie is a big light. She's okay. One more, please. All right, I won't call anybody. All right. Okay. Is that it? That's it. I think that's it. Oh, Claire had internet problems. Okay, Tiff, I guess it's the after party.